Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, I want to share how much money the Amazon sellers actually make. You're probably coming to this video because you want to get started with Amazon, or maybe you're trying to figure out, like, is this something that you can actually make money with? Is it a scam? Am I going to get rich overnight? Like, realistically, how much money do Amazon sellers make? So in this video, I want to break it down. I'm going to give it to you real. I'm going to give it to you unfiltered. I'm going to give it to you raw based on my 10 years of experience. Also on this YouTube channel, I've got 20 plus million views, and I don't share that to brag or impress you, but to impress upon you, I'd have to be a crazy person not to have met hundreds of thousands of other Amazon sellers, which obviously I have. So I have a really good grasp on how much money you can really make with this business model, okay? So there's 6 things that you want to keep in mind when you're trying to think about how much money can I actually make when I'm selling on Amazon. And the first thing is the business model. There's a lot of different ways to sell on Amazon. Some folks, they go to thrift stores, they go to garage sales, flea markets, maybe they buy from like their local Walmart and Target. That's typically like the easiest way to get started. A lot of folks who do that, they typically have profit margins upwards to 40, even 50%. So I would say, based on the thousands of people that I've, met and become friends with, I would say for folks who do it full time, you can make anywhere from, I'd say, 50,000 to upwards to over 6 figures profit doing that if you go crazy, full time, put a ton of hours into it. It's the easiest way to get started, but it is the most time consuming. In my opinion, it's not like a real business, because once you stop working, the business stops working because you have to go out and find stuff all the time, okay? The second most common business model is online arbitrage, where you're maybe buying items online from like Target, Walmart. Maybe you're doing eBay to Amazon flips like I am. I mean, my whole business is just buying on eBay and flipping back on Amazon FBA. And I've done, over the last 12 months, over 600,000. And in my business, just as an example, with online arbitrage, my margins come to about 25%. So on $600,000, I make about $150,000. So when it comes to online arbitrage, there are quite a few people who do make 6 figures and beyond, but you have to have a lot more skills, a lot more knowledge. It takes more money to invest. I have a team of virtual assistants that help me out. So that's kind of like the next step up. And I do see a lot of people making a full-time income from online arbitrage, but of course it takes a bit more experience. Third is going to be wholesale. Now this takes a bit more time, money, investment, capital, experience. I do see a lot of people earning over 6 figures. I even know people who are making 7 figures profit with wholesale, but they might have, 10, 15 employees, a warehouse, tons of distributors that they're working with. I mean, there's a couple really great YouTube channels online that talk about this. One of them is Amazon Lit. They do like $50 million a year with wholesale. It's absolutely crazy. But for the average person, I would say it takes a couple years to get into this, and you're going to need some money. But wholesale is great. And then number 4 is going to be private label. That's where you create your own product. You might import it from China. You have to work on your own packaging, branding. This is the most advanced. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money. I do know plenty of people who are making 6 and even 7 figures with this. I don't have a ton of experience with that, but really I just wanted to share, it depends based upon the business model, how much money you can make. Now, number 2, if you're trying to figure out like how much money can I make, a lot of it comes down to how much do you spend. For example, in my business, I've done $110,000 in the last 30 days, but I've had to spend $40,000 on products. Now, a year ago, when I was doing, $40,000 a month, I was only spending maybe $10,000 or $15,000. When I used to do thrifting, if I only spent $100 going to garage sales, my income might be capped at a certain number, whereas if I spent $300 or $400, my sales are going to go up. So when it comes to making money on Amazon and trying to figure out like how much money can I make, a lot of it comes down to how much money you actually spend and how much you invest. Now, number 3 is profit margin. So we talked about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale. We talked about private label. The profit margin and the ROI is going to vary. So again, with retail arbitrage and thrifting, maybe 40, 50%. With online arbitrage, you might drop down to maybe 20, 30, 35%, depending on the model. With wholesale, you're typically looking at, I would say, between 20 and 30%. In private label, I'm actually not entirely sure. I know the margins are probably pretty good because you're creating your own product, but I would say it is the highest risk because you have to do all the marketing, you have to create your brand, and it's very challenging. So hopefully that helps in terms of margins, because in terms of how much money you're going to make, it depends on your business model, how much you're spending, and what are your profit margins. Now, when it comes down to number 4, fees, On average, the fees are typically between 25 to 35% out the door on Amazon. So, for me, it's around 30%. So for every, $100,000 that I make, Amazon, after all the different fees that they take out from storage fees and listing fees and shipping and, referral fees, it's about 30%. So on $100,000, they would take 30,000 from me. So just keep in mind, usually 33% is a good average number. I know it is high, but you do have to understand Amazon has all the customers. And while you might be thinking, oh, I could list on eBay and sell on eBay and, only get 10 or 12% taken away, you sell your items for so much more money on Amazon. Plus, if you're doing FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, you can leverage the warehouses so you actually make more money and you spend less time. Number 5, do you have employees and virtual assistants? This is a game of spending money, leverage, and the more that you can send to Amazon or list on Amazon, the more money you're gonna make. So if you're trying to figure out how much money do Amazon sellers make, how much can I make? Like I said, it comes down to the business model that you choose, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, or private label, how much money you're spending, right? The ROIs and profit margins based on your business model. The fees are the fees. There's really nothing you can do. But do you have employees or virtual assistants to help you out to be able to send and ship more products? Like, for example, with me, I have 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines who source all of my products for me. I just got a prep center, so they're shipping all the items for me. So I'm leveraging people and various resources. So if I was doing it all on my own, I might only be able to do $200,000 a year. Whereas if I have a team and I'm able to leverage my team, I can make a lot more money. And last but not least is, are you selling FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, or FBM? If you're doing everything yourself and you're listing it at your house, storing it at your house, shipping it to the customer one by one, you're certainly going to be limited in terms of how much money you can make because you're a one-man, one-woman show. Whereas if you're using FBA, you put everything in a box, you ship it to FBA, and then they pick it, package, ship it, and do all the work for you. They deal with customer service. Yes, you're going to pay higher fees with FBA versus FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant, but you're really going to be able to leverage yourself and leverage your business so you're not stuck working in your business. With FBA, you're really working on your business so you can scale and grow. Again, you're paying a little bit more of fees, but really long term, you can make a lot more money. So hopefully this video helped. I know it was a lot, and I know how overwhelming it is when you're new and you're like, how much money could I make? Is it worth it? There's a lot of factors, and a lot of people aren't going to tell you that there's so many different factors that play a role. What's your business model? How much money are you spending, right? What are your profit margins? And you can improve and increase your margins in those various business models. I make videos about this on my channel, so if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe. I talk a lot about this. Your fees are your fees, but do you have employees? Do you have virtual assistants? Are you using a prep center? Do you have VAs who are sourcing and listing? Are you doing FBA, FBM? So think about this for a little bit. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of opportunities to make money with Amazon. It is hard work. The first 3 to 6 months are definitely a struggle. There's a big learning curve. And Amazon doesn't make it super, beginner friendly. But if you stick with it long term, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of opportunity, and the freedom it gives you is definitely worth it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button, show some love. And I just want to say thank you for watching. Bye-bye.